Welcome to another episode of English Learning. Whether you're learning English for the first time or looking to improve your skills, you're in the right place. In today's episode, we're going to discuss a topic that affects millions of people around the world, social media addiction, and how it's influencing not only our lives but also the way we communicate online. As we explore this issue, we'll also be helping you practice key English vocabulary and phrases while discussing how to manage our tech habits in a healthier way. So, whether you're a beginner or advanced learner, this episode will boost your language skills and give you practical advice to break free from the cycle of constant scrolling.
You're here because you're interested in social media addiction, its impact on us, and how we can break free.
You bet. You've sent over a bunch of research on this.
We have, and there's a really interesting interview with Dr. Emily Harris, a psychologist who specializes in digital behavior.
Yeah, from the English Learning Podcast.
Exactly.
This is going to be a fascinating deep dive, for sure.
For sure. So let's start with the basics. The addictive nature of social media.
Okay.
We all know about the constant notifications, right? The
Right.
scrolling, the dopamine hits from the likes.
Yeah, the likes especially.
But how does that actually hook us?
Well, every time you get that notification or a like or a comment, your brain releases that little bit of dopamine,
Uh-huh.
which is a feel-good chemical.
Mm.
And that's the same pathway that's involved in substance addiction.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not just about enjoying the content,
No.
it's more about chasing those dopamine hits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And social media offers those rewards so readily and kind of unpredictably, too, that it just creates this, cycle of anticipation and reward. It can be so hard to break.
It's like a slot machine.
Exactly like a slot
You
machine,
just keep pulling that lever.
hoping for that win.
Yeah. Okay, but social media is supposed to connect us, right?
Right.
So how does this whole dopamine thing impact our actual relationships?
Well, it taps into our need for connection and validation,
Sure.
but it's like a distorted version.
Okay,
Think about real-world connections. They require effort and vulnerability and consistency.
for sure.
But social media offers instant gratification.
Yeah.
But it often lacks depth.
So we're getting these quick hits of connection,
Yeah.
but they're not really nourishing our deeper need for that genuine interaction. 'Cause
Exactly.
that can be a slippery slope.
It can. The more we rely on social media for validation, the less we invest in the real-world relationships that sustain us.
Right, and that leads us to, I think, another trap.
Okay.
The comparison game
Oh, yes.
with other people's perfect online selves.
That's right. Dr. Harris calls this the warped mirror of social media. People curate their online personas, highlighting just the successes and filtering out their struggles. It's like a highlight reel on repeat.
So then we're comparing our messy everyday lives
Yeah.
to these idealized versions of others. And that can be really damaging.
Yeah, to our self-esteem, for sure.
For sure.
And there's research that shows this constant comparison. It increases anxiety,
Yeah.
depression, and body image issues, and especially in young adults and teens.
Right, because they're still figuring out who they are.
Exactly.
It's like trying to keep up with the Joneses, but the Joneses are influencers now
Oh, yeah.
with perfect lives and tons of followers.
Millions.
How can we even compete with that?
We can't, and we shouldn't. It's not about competing. We need to recognize that social media is designed to keep us engaged,
Yeah.
often at the expense of our well-being.
That's a scary thought. So how do we know if we've crossed the line
Yeah.
from casual use to actual addiction?
Right.
What are some of the red flags?
So Dr. Harris, she outlined some warning signs. It starts subtly, like constantly checking your phone.
Right, even when you should be doing something else.
Exactly.
Like you're at dinner with friends
Yeah.
or you're trying to work, but you just have to check your feed.
Right. And it's not just the checking. It's what happens when you can't access social media? Do you feel anxious,
Yeah.
restless,
Totally, yeah.
almost like you're missing a limb?
Phantom limb syndrome for your phone. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling of unease when you're disconnected.
Yeah, and it can escalate. Do you find yourself staying up late, scrolling,
Uh-huh.
sacrificing sleep even though you're exhausted,
Yep.
or neglecting work or hobbies or even relationships just to spend more time online?
Yeah. I think we've all been there. It's like social media becomes this black hole
I get
that just sucks up all your time and energy.
And then there's the emotional roller coaster. Your mood becomes tied to the likes and comments
Yeah.
and the follower count.
So you get a surge of happiness when a post gets a lot of attention,
Yeah.
and then a slump when it doesn't.
Exactly.
It's like we're letting an algorithm determine our self-worth.
Yeah, and algorithms, they can be pretty fickle.
Totally.
Right. It's bad for us.
So it sounds like step one is to recognize these red flags.
Yeah.
So what's next? What can we actually do to regain control?
Well, the good news is that you're not powerless. There are concrete steps you can take. Dr. Harris outlines some great strategies. And it's not about eliminating social media entirely.
Right.
It's about using it in a way that, enhances your life, not detracts from it.
Okay, so more of a mindful approach.
Exactly.
But how do we put that into practice?
Well, one of the most effective strategies is setting boundaries.
Okay.
So you designate specific times of day as phone-free zones.
Like during meals?
Yeah, meals, family time,
Family time?
an hour before bed.
I like that. So you're creating those spaces where you're just fully present
Yeah.
without the distractions.
Right. Without the notifications.
Yeah.
And you can even take it a step further with something called a digital detox.
Ooh, detoxing from the digital world. I like it.
Yeah, it's basically taking intentional breaks
Okay.
from all or certain social media platforms
For how long?
for a set period of time. Maybe it's a weekend,
Huh.
a week, maybe even a whole month.
Mhm.
It's just to give your brain that chance to reset
Yeah.
and break free from that constant stimulation and reconnect with real-life activities.
I've actually tried that. And it can be surprisingly challenging at first.
Yeah.
But you start to realize how much mental space social media was taking up.
It's a lot. A lot of people report feeling less anxious, more content during these detox periods.
Right.
Almost like they're breaking free from that FOMO.
The fear of missing out.
Yes,
I
exactly.
can see that. So what happens when we do decide to re-engage? How can we do that in a healthier way?
So Dr. Harris emphasizes finding replacement activities.
Okay.
What brings you joy? A sense of accomplishment. Things that nourish you rather than drain you.
So instead of mindlessly scrolling, I could read,
Yeah.
go for a walk, learn a new language,
Yes.
catch up with friends in person.
There you go.
Basically anything that brings me genuine fulfillment.
Exactly. And when you do use social media, try to be more intentional
Okay.
about the content that you're consuming. Are you following accounts that inspire you,
Mhm.
inform you, or are you constantly bombarded with negativity and comparison?
It's like curating your own digital diet,
I love that.
choosing to nourish your mind with healthy content instead of junk food.
Exactly. And remember, it's okay to unfollow, mute, or block accounts that don't serve you.
That's such an important reminder. We often feel obligated to follow certain people
Yeah.
or keep up with every trend, but ultimately it's our choice.
It is.
Okay, so we've talked about setting boundaries, digital detoxing, finding those replacement activities.
Right.
But what about when we do choose to engage with social media? Are there ways to make that more mindful?
Totally. Just try being more aware of your scrolling habits.
Okay.
Ask yourself, why am I on social media right now?
What am I hoping to get out of it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We often just scroll mindlessly
Yeah, we do.
without intention.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just take a second and reflect on why you're there, it helps you break free from that autopilot
That makes sense.
and pay attention to how the content makes you feel.
Wait, does it inspire you,
Yeah,
connect you, or does it make you feel envious or anxious?
exactly.
Yeah,
It's like checking your emotional barometer.
I like that.
If a certain account makes you feel bad, it might be time to unfollow or mute.
Yeah, for sure.
And remember, you don't have to do this alone.
Okay.
If you're struggling, there's no shame in asking for help.
Yeah, see a professional.
A therapist can give you guidance and support and strategies for your situation.
They can help you figure out why you're using social media like you are
Yeah.
and teach you better coping mechanisms.
Right. It's like having a coach in your corner
Yeah,
to help you navigate the digital world in a way that supports your well-being.
I like that. And speaking of well-being, Dr. Harris also mentions the potential benefits of social media.
Of course.
It's not all bad, right?
No, not at all. Social media can connect you with loved ones,
Mm-hmm.
people who are far away. It can build communities
Mm.
around shared interests. You can even advocate for causes you care about.
Right, and it can be a source of information and inspiration.
Oh, yeah.
Even entertainment.
Totally. The key is to strike that balance.
Yeah.
Being aware of both the good and the bad.
And remembering that technology should serve us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not the other way around.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the hidden costs of social media addiction,
Yeah.
I think the big takeaway is that it's about making conscious choices.
Absolutely. Choices about how we engage.
Right, what we consume, how we want technology to fit into our lives.
It's about being mindful, setting boundaries, and prioritizing real-life connections.
And remembering that we have the power to shape our digital world.
We do.
Create a world where technology enhances our lives, not diminishes them.
That's the goal.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into social media addiction. We hope you've gained some valuable insights today
We do.
and feel empowered to create a healthier relationship with the digital world.